All right, Evan, dude, thanks for coming on. I know we just got done talking about little technical difficulties. Always makes a podcast exciting to kind of deal with, but we troubleshoot and we make it happen. Dude, how you been, man?
I'm good. I'm good. I just came back from the beach, first week at the beach, and then Boys State right after that. So I'm a little tired, but yeah, I've just been working and running so far. So yeah. What about you?
Yeah, man. Well, I'm doing just fine, man. It's summertime here. So, kids are running and starting practice and all that jazz. Yeah, I spoke to your coach a couple weeks ago, and he mentioned that you just had such a packed schedule. So I'm glad
Yeah.
finally kind of take a break, man, and fit this one in here. Um,
hmm
but yeah, man, what do you do like outside of running?
Outside of running, well, I do work. I work at like it's like a sports bar. It's called Carolina Wings. And I work there a bunch. And then when I'm not working, I'm either playing like pickleball with friends or I like to eat food. I like to go out and eat a lot. So that is usually what I'm doing when I'm not running. So
Dude, heck yeah, dude, working there you go, make some money.
yeah. Yep.
um, how'd you get started in running in the first place?
Okay, so it's kind of like a funny story. So it was like during COVID, and well, it was like after COVID. I was in seventh grade, and I had a friend in my math class, and his name was Carson Hodges, and he ran track and cross country, and I didn't even know that we had a cross country team because Dutch Fork's so big on football and stuff that like all the other sports just get so overshadowed, and so I he was talking about it one day, and then I was like, that's because I needed to join a sport. I'm not that good at like football or baseball or anything, so I wanted to do something, and I was like, I might give that a shot. And then I started. It was his cross country, like the my seventh grade cross country season. I didn't do, and then I didn't do my eighth grade one either. But then my eighth grade track is when I started running in the summer of that year, and then I just went out there during the track season. And I was like, I want to join the team, and so I just started running with the team, and it was really good. So yeah.
Wow, dude, yeah, I think everybody has like a pretty unique story when it comes to just starting out. I've heard like playing basketball, soccer.
hmm
There was one the other day. I can't remember
Well,
how
I
she
originally
started,
did
but she like
soccer.
she lives on a farm, and yeah, there's a ton of different kind of stories there. But yeah, man, let's get into cross country last season. Let's get into cross country. Definitely. I mean, I would look at it as a pretty solid season. I don't know what were your overall thoughts on how it all went down?
Well, this season was a really big change for me because I was losing a lot of teammates that I've ran with over the years. So we went to the season and we were ranked really high as a team, but then we ended up losing three or four dudes, and they weren't even seniors. It was just like injury, personal health issues. A lot of people just just were not there, and so it was kind of just like a new season. One of my friends, she was a senior, she just graduated, and so I was kind of like lost, and I was like, okay, so I have to be the leader of the team now. And so that's basically what I did, and I was just focusing on myself that season because the season before that I was really focused on a team aspect, but this time I was more focused on the individual part, and that's when I just started pushing myself harder in workouts, and I just saw more success when I was running. So yeah.
Yeah, man, definitely. Watching you run, I was able to catch at least maybe two or three times, maybe even four times of you out there. I think the one that really stood out was at Lexington. I think it was Lexington
Oh yeah.
County. Um, that race really stood out to me as far as just your demeanor and kind of pushing through the pace and everything. And then I know we're going to get into it later, but I saw you run at Heathwood in the
hmm
track, and you just,
Yeah.
I mean, although it wasn't a huge meet, but just being able to take control,
Yeah.
especially in a meet like that, is really important. But we'll stay in cross right now. Obviously, in 2023, 10-minute guy, 17-minute guy, um, you dip down in the 16s. This year, it was 16s and even sub 16. I know you credit, kind of focusing more on yourself and not necessarily the team aspect of things. Was there any time in the summertime or like during your training that you saw like, hey, like I'm kind of unlocking a new level to run, especially sub 16?
Yeah. I mean, like during the summer, I went to Furman camp, the Furman cross country camp, and I did really good there. I got to run with people from all over the state who were and out of state who were better than me, and I would try to stick with them. And then in cross country, I would just see that tempo runs were kind of getting easier for me, and I could go 540s, 530s for tempos, and I could hold it. And so yeah, I had a feeling I was gonna get sub 16 this year, but I didn't know I was gonna get it that many times. And then there was a point where I was at 16 flat for a lot, and I was really frustrated because I was just like, if I'm running 16 on the dot, why can't I go under? But then when I got under, I pushed through. But yeah, during the training aspect, I mean, it kind of felt like every other training aspect of every other time I run, but it was just like this season I could feel myself. I was getting stronger. I was going to the gym. I was doing the little things that were helping me get faster.
Yeah, the little things is always something I love preaching, man. It definitely helps with that just extra little oomph. And it's funny that you mentioned like 16 flat and just being there. It's funny because that really is like once you. I remember breaking 10 for the first time in high school, and it was like I ran 10:01, and it was like, dang man, like it's this close, like it's so close. And I remember running like 10:03, but then like once you do it, it's there, and you're like, ah, okay, this
Exactly.
is how
Yeah.
how it's done. This is how I know how to do it. Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. It's just weird. It's so weird. You just have to do it one time and you understand it. Um, First at state qualifiers, how was that, man? Like,
It was unexpected because I was like, okay, so at this point, I just did county and I won that, but I feel like I won it because I went out so fast. I opened my first mile, it was like 440 or something, and I just matched everyone else's speed after that, and so I was just so far ahead of everyone that no one could catch me. And then at state qual, I don't know. I was just so stressed out before that race. I just had this like knee injury thing. It was like mine. Every time I bent my knee, it would just like make this like stabbing pain in my knee for some reason. So, but it didn't happen when I ran fast. It would only happen when I'd run like slow, like my training part. So that's why I had to cut my training a lot at the end of cross country. But I was really stressed out, and so I was just like I just went for it, and I got so far ahead out in the beginning, and then it worked, and I was able to win it, and that was really cool. I remember passing the line. It was like I was tying my PR, and then I don't know. I was just like so far ahead, and it was just a great feeling.
yeah, that's got to be pretty cool for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and then obviously it should probably give you a lot of confidence going into states. Um, Obviously states 11th, probably not the finish you were expecting or kind of hoping for. Um, how'd that race go? I mean, was the knee pain kind of feeling it again, or I mean, in general, the course ran slow. It seems like it now always runs slow.
hmm
Um, yeah, what were your kind of expectations going into that one, and then how did all played out?
Yeah, for state, I mean, it was looking really good, but of course, nothing can go right, and I got like the flu literally the week of state. And so, but it was kind of already passing, so I kind of felt better. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna run. And then I don't know, the knee pain wasn't the bad part. It was just I think my breathing was kind of messed up, and I don't really like to make excuses for myself when I run because it's just like it happens, whatever. But it was kind of disappointing because I ran 16 flat on that course the beginning of October, and then I run 16 like 30 at the state, and it was just like my first 2 miles were good. It was just my last mile, that hill. I can either go up it easily or it just kills me. So this time it killed me, and people were just passing, and there was really nothing I could do about it. But I do think that if I didn't get sick that week, I could have had a better performance. But it is what it is, and I got all states, so I'm fine with it. But yeah.
There you go. Um, Now it seems like most of you guys tend to know one another. Do you have any like in-state rivalry with anybody or somebody like that you just want to beat most days or anything like that? Any like bromance kind of going on?
Well, rivalry. I wouldn't say rivalry because we, like, he is my friend and we do push each other. But I would say probably Brandon Corley from River Bluff. We would run together a lot. I remember the coach's classic race when I ran 16 flat. He ran 16:04, and that whole race we were just kind of pushing each other, going off of each other the whole time. And then I would say the two at Chapin, Summit Wood, and Koa Erickson. I've been racing against Koa like since the beginning that I started, and Summit came on later. But every race I find myself either really close behind them or really close in front of them. So it is kind of just a rivalry between, because I mean, I feel like everyone that I've mentioned, we're all pretty close in times. So yeah, every race I feel like it's either like I'm beating them or they're beating me. But it is fun to race with them because they are nice guys. So yeah.
Yeah, Summit. I'll always remember Summit at what was it? Lake I don't it was like was it Lake Murray? Maybe it was Lake Murray. It was one of them. But he was like if you watch the video back, it's like dude is in like 30th, 40th place at the 1 mile and then just makes his way through the pack and ends up uh beating out Jacob Powell at
Yeah,
the
that was a
line.
crazy
And it's
race.
just like where did he yeah, it's like where did he come from? That's one of the coolest kind of races to look back at and just have. I mean, you got to know like he has so much confidence in himself
Right.
to be
Well,
able to do something like that as well. Yeah. Any favorite courses that you like? I'm assuming probably Newberry is not one of your favorite ones. Maybe.
well, I would say my favorite. Here, wait, let me see. I would say my favorite's probably Eye Opener, just because it's such. There's really no course in South Carolina that I've ran where it's just like everything's different the whole time. I feel like every course it's either like a loop or like you're going through the same things like multiple times. Or I would say honestly Newberry is a fun course when you can run it right in the right conditions. If it's like in the early October time, it is a good course. But then usually at state it's either rainy, cold. So that's why it is bad, and that's why I do not like Newberry. But yeah, I would say Eye Opener is probably my favorite out of all the ones I've ran. So yeah.
Yeah, Eye Opener seems to be the going one out of all of them here. I like Eye Opener too. It's like I keep saying it, I think it's probably like the most true cross country course in South
Hmm.
Carolina, just from the amount of space you have to maneuver and whatnot, and it's just
Yeah,
spectator like not friendly at all. But I can assume it's pretty fun to run.
it is.
Um, now, any do you have any like workouts that you enjoy doing most of all, like mile repeats or 800s or anything? It just kind of makes you
Um,
feel like stronger.
so like when I'm like in the peak of my season and I like can actually run these workouts like well, I feel like mile repeats are a really fun workout. Trying to beat each mile that you do. I remember I did a thing of mile repeats. It was like 4:55, 4:50, 4:45 during cross country, I believe, and it was just really cool pushing the pace every time. But I also do really like a good progression. I like because I feel like the first mile of all my like easy, whether it's easy run, tempo run, it's always pretty hard getting into the pace. And so being able to start off slow and then push myself at the very end is always pretty easier for me and more enjoyable than I'd say my other runs.
Yeah, no, I agree. Mile repeats I think is such an iconic workout for cross country, maybe even track too, but mainly cross country. It's hard to not enjoy it and respect it for sure.
Yeah.
Let's go into track now a little bit. um, 426 for the 16, 934 for the 32. Choosing your event, is there an event that you feel a bit stronger in for like one or the other?
Well, honestly, I kind of just do whatever event I'm ranked higher in at the moment. So there was a time where I was ranked pretty high in the 32, so I started doing the 32 more. And when the 32 was not working out, I went back to the 16. But uh, yeah, I would say probably I am probably better at the 16, more consistent in the 16, I would say.
Yeah, and then when you look at the overall season, um, do you like how do you feel it went?
Honestly, I was kind of disappointed with the season because again, I don't really like to make excuses, but this season I was not here a lot. I went to Europe in the middle of the season during All American, so I had to miss that meet, and I went to Europe for 10 days, and it was with my school. It was a school trip, and we would leave early in the morning in Europe. I was already jet lagged. It was so crazy, and we would leave so early in the morning, and we'd get back so late. So there's literally no time to run. I think I did 2 runs, and it was really unfortunate because that was the one point in my season where it mattered most. It was exactly like 1 month out of state, and so I needed to like probably peak my mileage then. And then before that, in the January February like winter training, my training was not that consistent. I just started my job, and finding time to run was just like not usually an option. I'd either get off super late or I'd have to cut my runs short. And so my mileage was already not that great. I had a good mileage at the end of February, and I think that showed in my performances at the end of March and early April because I ran a 4:23 mile at this one Chapin meet, but the results messed up and they couldn't, like, I wasn't entered in properly, and me and my teammate, the results didn't go in. My coach had to like fight with MileSplit about it. It was, but in the end, they didn't put the time in. So it does kind of look like I didn't PR this season, but I did run 4:23 at that one Chapin meet. But it is unfortunate because they didn't have that. But you know, like it was an okay season. I mean, I did PR in all my events, even though it doesn't show it. But I mean, I feel like there's definitely room for improvement, and I feel like that's what I'm going to be working on this upcoming season is the more consistent aspects. I will not be going on any faraway trips this spring break, so I think we're good.
Yeah, yeah, maybe cut off on the long distance trips. No, but that's cool though. That's cool. When you look at, because I like being open and honest with it. Because yeah, when you do look at the times, it is a little like, I don't want to say disappointing. Because when you can PR and when you can make progress, I think every season you can kind of learn something new. But there could be, yeah, some missed opportunity. I think All American is like when you look at some of these bigger meets, like All American or like the Carolina Distance Carnival, I think it was. Um, like yeah, those are just kind of prime meets for PRs, and like they're just being built up that way too. So
Exactly.
to like not be able to go to one of them is like it's kind of rough. Um, but I mean, again, and that kind of blows 4:23, and that doesn't count. That's wow. That's pretty. I'd
I
be pretty
was
livid
so
too.
sad. Yeah, I was so sad.
I'd be pretty livid. That's crazy. But I think it speaks also again to like the mental toughness of just being able to kind of, you move on, and you obviously know what you can do from doing that. That's why, like, speaking on, when I saw that 32 you ran at Heathwood, to me, you look strong. Like, I was like, dude, this kid is going to have a crazy track season. Because you did that solo. You did, I mean, all solo. Do you think, I mean, I know you talk about like inconsistency, and obviously, like, yes, consistency, you got to get that tightened up. Um, but do you think that you just didn't have an opportunity to race big? Is that like, would you consider that kind of a thing too, or just it wasn't
I
the
would
right race?
say,
Because obviously
I would
States
say,
wasn't really like that either.
yeah. I mean, well, for the 32, I knew State was gonna be really fast for the 32 this year, so I was gonna run the 32 at State Qual, but that was gonna be my third event for the day, and I just did not have the endurance this season to do three events. And then the 32, I mean, it's it's kind of like the 5K. When I'm out and I go out, I open that fast and I can just hold it. I feel way better than I am when I'm chasing in a pack. And when I am in a big pack with big competitors, I kind of get stressed out a little and I do stupid stuff. And so when I'm able to run alone, I can just hit my splits, hit my times, and I don't have to worry about anyone. That's how I ran the mile at Chapin, at that Chapin home meet. I won it by like 30 seconds, so I was just able to hit my splits each lap. I came in at like 316, 317 at the 1200, and then I finished my last lap strong, and then the 32, my last lap was like a 110, and because I was just like hitting all my splits, and I was able to be ahead of them and still not die by pushing myself to be in a group ahead of me. So yeah.
Yeah, and there's a picture on the internet of you. It's pretty funny, and I want to ask about it. The um, the numbers that you put on your singlet for the meet, right?
Mhm.
You pinned it on. You didn't put the sticker on. What's behind that? I've never seen anybody pin it on. You usually just put the backing on.
If it was in track, I think it was honestly because they ran out of numbers and they had it was like a number, but it didn't have a sticky side to it, so they had made me pin it. And I think it happened a couple of meets actually, and it would keep falling off. So I made sure to pin it a lot. So that's probably the picture that you're thinking of.
It- okay, yeah, I saw it at States. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah,
That's the
yeah, that
weirdest
was
thing I've ever seen. But
yeah.
I was like, what is this? Um, I don't know, whatever though. So we go into like cross now, and obviously again coming off I would still say a pretty good track season. Nothing to, I mean, 930s is not anything to not be happy with. I think it definitely sets you up a little bit for this next cross season. Um, with a good, I mean, you got a good PR again. 1530 is like it's no joke. You if you drop even 20 seconds this season, I mean, you're in the hunt for really anything. Any goals specifically for cross country this coming up?
Well, I definitely want to place better at state. I think me and my coach are hoping I can get in the top three this season. And then, other than that, I am trying to get the school records for my school. But unfortunately, the person that has these school records was insanely fast. Roland Hakes in like 2012. He dropped like a 15:10, 9:26, 4:13. So like it's gonna be difficult trying to get his records. If not, I'm definitely trying to get in the 15:20s or below. And then if I do, I feel like maybe in like those easier courses like Mike Moore or Lake Murray, maybe sub 15 could even be possible. But I'm just keeping it consistent. Keeping my training good, trying to increase gradually, not rapidly, and also throwing in like cross training, strength training, all that stuff.
Yeah, and do you have any desire to do any like postseason meets like Foot Locker South or Running Lane or NXR, anything like that, or haven't really thought about it?
I have definitely thought about it. I know it's not really common for people on my team to do it. I think we used to do it a lot when our girls were like runner up for state back in like 2015. They had a lot of meets like that. But I don't know. I think I'll just have to see how my season plays out. If I have a good performance at state, I might want to keep continuing it. But it just depends on if I'm burnt out or not by the end of the season, and if I want to keep running meets. So yeah.
Yeah, and so when you look at the stats here, 10th overall in South Carolina as a returner, individually. Do you look at the rankings at all, or have like, or just you don't pay any attention to it? Like a number is just a number.
Well, I mean, I do look at them, but I do consider the fact that cross country is kind of weird these times. You know, could be some kid could run a 15 flat on a easy course, but then could run like a 15. But like that's like it's like a huge PR. So I don't really like it. It just depends on the course. If someone can run a 15:30 at Newberry, then like I am definitely looking at that. But I do consider the fact that all the courses are different. Some are easier, and that things do change. So I just keep it in the back of my mind. But I do notice that.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's actually really good. I think for the most part, people kind of just look at the number, and then it's like when you actually look at the course and you look at like you compare, somebody running 15 flat or something on one course, and then they've been running 16:02. It's like, okay, well maybe something is there. Um, fifth as a team. You guys are fifth as a team coming back. That's not bad at all. That's not bad at all. Now, obviously, like, people leave, people don't do track, people, there's left and right. Trust me, I know a bunch of teams that are like that right now. There's a team that I know that had four of their top five, or like three out of their top five that didn't run track this year, um, which I think plays a big role in cross country. But you did speak on like the importance of kind of being like you're all of a sudden the leader of your team. Um, how have you kind of embraced that role of being the leader and kind of being, um, I guess like the face of the franchise for especially for the season coming up?
I look at it as like it is more of an individual sport for me as of right now, but I also do, I do encourage my teammates to run with me. I do encourage these group runs. Even with our girls, I try to get our girls into it because our girls our fastest mile used to be like a 6 flat. Now we have girls running 5:20s. So I'm trying to like push everyone because I do want more people. I do want my teammates to be sub 16 with me as well. But I also it is weird because I feel like I was always the runner that was always the youngest in the top 10, or I was like the youngest to go to state, but now I am the oldest, and so it will be interesting to see how that plays out this season. But that's how it is right now. I'm kind of just like I am the oldest, so I am taking initiative, kind of.
Yeah, and yeah, and the crazy part is like as much as you may not want it, it's gonna be there. But I do encourage you to think back when you were the quickest guy on the team, and you were looking up to the upperclassmen, and it's a similar role now. But you do, like I said, you have a good team. You have actually a really strong team, and you never know. You absolutely never know what could happen during the season. Um, we talk about again a strong track season, and obviously maybe not, again, not the strongest track season that you wanted. And then obviously goals for this cross country season. When it comes to summer training this time around, are you changing anything up, or again, I know you said you're not going to ramp it up like crazy, but is there anything new that you're trying, or is like, hey, this is how it's always been done, this is how I know how to do it, like we're just sticking to the same plan and rolling with it?
Well, my coaches are definitely on board with what I'm trying to do this season, so I think they definitely are tweaking workouts, making them stronger and better for me. And I used to only cross train when I would get injured, actually. So I'm trying to cross train at least like once or twice in the week. And then I'm also focusing on strength training a lot. Unfortunately, our school doesn't like let us use the weight room or anything, so I'm having to do it all by myself. But I think it is very beneficial and important if you do those little things. And yeah, I'm also I'm focusing on peaking my mileage gradually and slowly getting up to it, and not just like starting at 40 miles this week. I'm trying to play it out smart, and yeah, we'll just see how the season goes. So it'll definitely be interesting.
Two more questions here. One, um, how many days do you run per week? That's like I'm so curious of this because the training schedules, um, how it like used to be 10, 15 years ago to 5 years ago has changed drastically. It seems like people run a lot less now, or like less days. But curious, like how many days are you running a week?
Well, as of right now, usually I only run 6 out of the 7, but sometimes if I have a really hefty week, I might just do 5 out of the 7, and then maybe bike one day or something. And then, but yeah, I did like 14 days straight one time, and then I ended up hurting my foot, so I don't do all 7 days anymore.
Yeah, well, like I said, like everybody kind of has their own kind of plan, or teams do, but I think once you kind of find what works for you, it goes a long way, and obviously it makes you stronger and mentally tough. Um, Evan, I appreciate you coming on, dude. Definitely would like to catch back up. Hopefully in the season, I definitely will probably see you out there quite a bit. But I'm curious how the summer training kind of goes, and obviously how the job goes, and balancing all of that. I think that's a unique experience. I think honestly, I haven't really heard too many people on here say that they were working this summer. Kudos to you, and just being able to balance school, work, and running on the side as well. So I appreciate you coming on, man. And like I said, we'll definitely have to catch up.
Of course, yes. Of